He's gonna have to get back here like a week early.
Don't you get the impression that he's not throwing? He won't throw for us.
He said he's not throwing too much. He said, but he's
Until you're cleared to throw.
I don't know that it's gonna be too much. I mean, I really don't think they need to.
Don't you think he needs to clear to throw in mid-July? I mean, just
Yeah.
to throw. I'm not talking.
I mean, I would never feel it. Because mid-July, if he's just starting to throw in, by that time, he's got to really, it'll take a while to ramp up. I seriously grab a chair and sit down.
Never a good spin to put on an injury to your quarterback throwing out. None.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's rough.
Hey, Lara. Do us the honor of giving us mic checks whenever.
For those who was in practice, can you write 200 words? Worthwhile.
Mic check 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. Mic check. Checking the microphone for Kevin. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2
Kevin, the
and
matters
1.
too, I went 1, 2, 3 when it comes to
Yeah.
Are we-
All three of them open.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if they said it or not.
I don't think it's longer though. It does, but that means it's still, I mean, I would still Bluetooth.
Hayden, we have like 10 minutes, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Thank you.
Should be
But it's
30.
since we have 10 minutes left.
I just wanted to check something real quick, okay?
Oh. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4. Corbin's hearing me, so there's that. We at least know that the middle microphone is working, so it seems like that the microphone in the middle of the table, according, yep, Kevin's getting that audio clear. Thanks, Eck. Sure.
We know that.
Okay. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4, testing microphone number 3. Brian's giving me the thumbs up. So it seems like the middle microphone and the far microphone are good to go, but we have an issue with the far left microphone. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4.
Number 3 is not working.
Good question. This one's a little new to me, so I'm not sure. This one's new to me, so I'm not sure. Yeah. Do agree.
Yeah, Hayden.
I haven't done anything
Mic
yet.
3 is not working.
Okay. Do you recommend I just plug it to a different?
Well,
Or could it be the microphone? I don't know.
I don't.
Should I just put in a 3? Should I try 4?
I can run and grab a new mic.
No, it's not the mic. It's not the cable. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, you can try 4. I just don't know if.
Okay, trying this next
Hold
input
on.
to see if.
Yeah.
Oh.
And let me just.
Uh,
This problem.
We have to do two mics.
We have two mics and whoever's speaking because this mic's not working. Either the input, it's not the, I don't think it's the mic. I think it's the input maybe into the board or something.
It's okay seeing 7, just nice, but I don't think it's going 7. They lose tomorrow, I think they're going to lose this year. Like, I don't think they can play from behind this year.
Still good though, like a lot of the
Yeah, Kevin's looking at, he's checking all, see where Kevin's sitting right now, that's what he's looking at. I don't think there's anything registering through. It seems like there's from the connectivity from the XLR cable to the input.
That's your baseline. My bad night is probably 26.
And this guy said,
Yeah. I did a big piece on him today.
10, 9, 8, 7,
I'm
6.
so glad he hit the game winner game 1 because it made the story a lot better. I'm like, oh, it's even. He's clutch. And they were down on 2. People were like, why is he even written?
has any team led for less than 0.3 in the game?
That was the first time.
I mean, he was saying.
Yeah. But that's the thing, we had like that first time thing, like every single round of the playoffs.
So if you guys look at
First
this,
time in history we've ever had.
there's the podium ties are 1 and 2. There's nothing coming out of 3 that would then go into those into that mixer. There's only 2 channels. I don't know why there's yeah. There's only, so channel 1 and channel 2 are the only 2 that are available. Channel 3 has nothing coming out of it going into anything. So I'm assuming that we'll probably just have to put the mics in between them and but hindsight right now is 2020. So well, yeah, we can just pull it. Yeah, so pull this one. And they'll be able to.
Hey, real quick, just to give you all a heads up, so we'll get started here in a few minutes. Just to let y'all know, Carly, Casey, and Kalen will all have an opening, and then we'll get into questions. And if you don't mind, before we start with questions, would you just make sure you introduce yourself with your name and your media outlet, just so they have a understanding who they're talking to. Be very helpful. So, all right. Okay, we'll get started here shortly. Probably.
Any other day, I would have pulled out.
Just, so you don't, I mean, yeah, we should know. That's our thing.
And I got a gym, I'm supposed to go to my
You can't see it. I'll get better volume up there.
maybe behind the helmet or something.
Yeah, so,
4. Oh, see, I was about to.
or I guess on time.
6 minutes early.
That's something else.
Reporters don't come from all day.
So what's the man wave look like out there?
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Make sure every phone or thing is not on
None
the
things.
This stuff last Thursday.
Yep.
Hey, I like
Hey, that's funny, we were talking before. Shane, somebody got hurt because sometimes.
He did say that.
And then the first thing said, it starts to go.
like the first one we just got was second time in 3 years.
known for being late. Only false start when it's 6:30 in the morning. I false started twice in 3 weeks. I'm trying to get out my system. You know what? I just hadn't thought of that. I was trying to wake up naturally.
I feel like we're at Congress.
Once we're settled, Carly, if you want to start.
Okay, great. Yeah, perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. In honor of my dad, we actually considered whether we should be 30 minutes late arriving at a press conference, and we thought, you know what, it's a new era. Now.
Auntie literally looked at us when we were 10 minutes early ready, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah. So to begin, our family would like to thank so many countless individuals for their love, their thoughts, prayers, the kind words. There have just been so many incredible stories that have been shared with us about our dad during this trying time. Our dad really cherished his relationships with you guys too, so we just want to say thank you for your support as well. So to say that we love our dad and miss him terribly would be an understatement. We are so proud to continue our dad's legacy, beginning with carrying out his foremost wish to keep the Colts in our family. We want our fans to know that we've spent decades in our family business learning every aspect of our organization under our dad's leadership. It was sometimes trial by fire, and I'm forever grateful for the invaluable experience that I've gained. It has prepared me and my sisters for moments like today. Now, for women, the opportunity to work in places like the equipment room, which is where my dad started as a teenager in the 70s, it's different. I've had to take a different path. In high school, beginning to learn and interning in sales and marketing, and later increasingly in administration and football operations. My dad was so proud to see each of us find our own niche in the franchise our family loves so much. His greatest love beyond his family was having the blessing to be a steward for the Indianapolis Colts. It's our privilege and honor to share this same responsibility and opportunity today. We also want all Colts fans to know that we will continue to work tirelessly in living our mission statement to entertain, inspire, and unite by winning the right way, as we do in an organization and on the field and in our community. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd also like to thank all of the countless fans and employees, media, NFL owners, down to even my mailman. I mean, everyone's been so open gracious and kind about all the kind words that they have for our dad, as we all know was extremely generous and important in this community. And well, he'll be terribly missed. But as we're kind of going through this grieving process, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for that. The horseshoe basically represented so much to our dad. And I think we all know, and just growing up with it, in fact, we all have the same horseshoe tattoo, which my dad had as well. But it was more than just a symbol of loyalty, hard work, and compassion. It was so much more what it meant to him, and he ingrained that in all of us. It was more about, it was a family. And my dad always said that to so many people. Every person who walked into this organization, in this building, was a part of our family, from the bottom to the top. And my sisters and I, we've all learned that from countless years that we've spent at training camps. And in high school, I worked the front desk answering phones, to marketing, to just the countless years that we're so thankful for, that our dad allowed us to be a part of the organization from such a young age, which was priceless, really. So we've been around the NFL and the team a long time. We've grown up here in Indy, in the city, and we just know the value of our commitment to the team and to the city of Indianapolis is just as important as it was when he was there. We are going to take that seriously as a family, and we know we're going to try to live on his legacy in the best way that he has taught us. And what the horseshoe represents is going to continue to be kind of what he taught from the very beginning. So we're grieving the death of our father, but as we process this transition, we feel energized, and we want to continue his legacy in bringing home another Super Bowl for the city of Indianapolis. And our family has always been about faith, family, and football, of course. So we hope to continue that. I also wanted to note that Drake, my dad's dog, who not a lot of people know, our brother, is living with me now, and I'm sure he'll probably be coming to the games still. So Drake's doing well. He's living on the farm now, but so thank you. Thank you.
Well, again, I'll echo what they said in terms of thanking everybody in this room and everyone who's reached out in any capacity. And Casey's right, anywhere I go, even my girls' First Baptist game, I have people coming up to me, and as much as it can be overwhelming, it's such a testament to what he was, and what he'll continue to be. And as they've said, again, to echo what they've said, his dream was probably his biggest dream, other than having a big family and having grandkids and being with us, was to see us do what we're doing right now. And I think the hardest thing about that is that his biggest dream and goal, he always knew he wouldn't be able to be here to see. And that makes today extremely bittersweet. I wish, I think anytime we thought about it, what an exciting gift and opportunity we've been given in this life to be at the level we are at as owners. And as my dad always said, he hated that word. He loved the word steward, because that's really what we're doing. And I think we all want to make sure that everyone knows that that is probably one of the biggest things we got from our dad, is that realization that this is an extremely amazing opportunity that we have, and we do not take that for granted in any way. And that we feel blessed to be able to continue his legacy of being a steward, both within the NFL, but also in the Indianapolis community and the world. And I think one story that I'll share from the service that was really impactful for all of us, it was a beautiful celebration, first of all, and I know a few of you were able to be there. And it was a celebration. He would have loved it. But when we left, you have to make a lot of decisions, as anyone knows who's lost a parent or a loved one. And as overwhelming as it was so nice to have each other to do that with. And through all the decisions, one of them was, how are you going to transfer him down to Crown Hill? And I can't remember who came up with it, but we said, you know, it'd be perfect to take him on his bus that he loved so much one more time. And what we didn't realize or think of in our grief and the chaos of the day and everything is that we took Meridian, you know, that takes you down the heart of the city. And as we were driving, people were just coming out of their homes, taking pictures, waving, stopping their cars, honking, you know, cheering. And it was such a very emotional but extremely beautiful reminder of what he represented here. And we don't take that lightly in any way. And I know that even though he's not here to see this day, he is here. And he is seeing it. And he is literally ingrained in our hearts and in our minds. And there will be no decision that we make that we will not hear his voice in the back of our head, reminding us, when I'm not here, now you remember this. And I can't tell you how many conversations like that we had. And what a gift. I mean, that's not always common. He let us in on conversations at a very young age. And when I look back on it now, I'm kind of surprised. But he trusted us. And he knew that we understood the seriousness of this job and the responsibility that we had. And I think we'll forever be grateful for that.
All right, so we'll open up for questions. Chap, go ahead. Just a reminder, just introduce yourself, please, first and then.
Mike Chappell, Fox 59.
Hi, Mike.
One thing that Jim always said is he learned a lot from his father, how to be an owner, the good and the bad. What would you take away from what he has tried to impart to you guys? The good and maybe a few things to stay away from.
A few things. Well, maybe tweeting would be bad. But I don't know. We haven't decided. I don't know if this might. Is this mic working? Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. We haven't
Twitter
decided
giveaways,
yet
yeah.
about
Who's gonna run the Twitter
our
feed?
level of tweeting.
Well, and I thought we were joking about that earlier because I'm responsible for introducing him to Twitter, so. Yeah.
But then I would say, Mike, I think a big thing, you know, when Keelan, I think, and we all kind of touched on collectively the pride, and my dad really looked at it as a responsibility and a true gift and blessing to be able to be a steward of an NFL franchise. I think back to the days when our grandfather even bought the team and he over leveraged himself to do it, and people thought at one point, like, are you crazy? You're gonna, like, you could lose everything. And, you know, when you think about just, I think my dad had these sometimes kind of seemingly maybe crazy to other people ideas about things, but then later, you know, years later, you know, I had someone at our celebration of life say, you know, your dad gave me all these amazing stock tips. I had no idea. And it's like, I did 3 of them and I wish I'd bought more of it. And I would also say, as far as, you know, with Kaylin leading the charge in our community and impact and all of our philanthropy, I mean, I think you have to give and pay it forward. And my dad, I think we all, you know, learn from that. And I think also hiring good people in our organization, letting them do their jobs and letting them own their role. Like, we might be owners, but you own your role, and we will get out of the way and we will be there for support. I would say there's so many, but those are some high level ones.
Stephen Older, ESPN.com. For any of you, I'm wondering, is there an area that you think will represent maybe the biggest learning curve for you? Because it is different, right? When the buck does stop with you, there are things that you maybe haven't encountered. Is there one, Gary?
I could take it. I think that for us, as Carly kind of mentioned at the beginning, and I also hinted at, you know, in talking about how he trusted us so young, I think that although maybe you guys didn't see some of the stuff that we were doing behind the scenes, a lot of that stuff, we were a part of those conversations. We were a part of the process. We may not have been the one signing the decision paper, I guess, if you will, but we were exposed to every area you could possibly think of. He never cut us out of any area of any kind, and I think that will help us, like, in this transition. But of course, in anything, in any new role, There'll obviously be some learning curves, but I think because of that from him, and also because of the people that, like she just said, he always trusted people. He taught us probably, I would say, Mike, one of the biggest things that we all three have learned is that you hire the right people, you get out of the way, you trust them, and you don't micromanage. And I think that along with that came people that are still here. I mean, at some point we figured we talked about Pete Ward. He's a huge asset, and there are people like that across the building that are going to be huge assets to us as we settle into these new roles.
As a follow-up, was that kind of a misnomer about your father, that because he was very public and vocal, but he was not like the guy who's micromanaging everything. He did let people lead, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe sometimes that was a storyline that got told, but he really truly did. I mean, he liked to debate. I mean, Chris Ballard says it all the time, and he says it's one of the things I'm going to miss about him the most is just our back and forth, almost like fighting, but in a way that's healthy. That's how you get to the end decision. That's how you get to that place. And so I think in that sense, he definitely gave his opinion. And it might be loud, but no, I never, if I was to describe him and what I know to be true, he was not a micromanager.
Joel Erickson, Indianapolis Star. How did you guys come to your respective areas of expertise, and how did your dad play a role in you guys finding those roles within the organization?
Well, I would say that I think
It's naturally
we were,
happened.
it naturally happened, Joel, but we were never, it was never like, this is what you're doing. Like, I think about some friends that I have, it tends to be not to stereotype doctors, but like, you're going to be a brain surgeon or something. I mean, it was always, you should do what you love and be yourself and follow your heart. But I think it's the nature nurture question, or the chicken and the egg. I think none of us will ever be able to answer that. But I think we grew up, and my dad loved it so much, and we have, so many of our family memories, Christmases, holidays that, we, for some people that start new and working in sports, they're like, oh, I don't get this day off. And it's like, for us, like, we don't know it any different than from
Our lives have always revolved around
Yeah,
the entire
so-
football schedule.
Yes.
But I mean, I think to answer it more, he always said to us, that's one of the most beautiful things about sport. There's so many areas that you can be involved in, but he would always make sure to leave that conversation saying, but you need to understand, if you're going to be an owner, that's the seriousness of that and the decisions that you might have to make. That, as some people will say, sometimes it can be lonely at the top. And he didn't have siblings, to bounce ideas off of. And I really think it's something that he always was so happy for us, that we had each other as we've grown together, and to be able to bounce those ideas and support each other in that way. And I think we all, kind of like the yin and the yang, we all have strengths in areas that maybe not be the same as mine, as it is Carly's, as is Casey. And that's one of the great things, I think, of having this balance and people to lean on. And I mean, I look at, I said it in my speech at his service, but it was a really weird moment to realize that I'm the same age he was when his dad died. And that shifted him, that changed him. And this will us as well. But we feel ready, and I think the stability that we feel having each other is huge.
Kevin Bowen, 107.5 fan. Carly, was there ever any doubt that you guys would take over? Do you ever think to yourself, maybe this is not something
Well, I mean, certainly, Kevin, I think at one point I went to pursue my doctorate in clinical psychology, so I think I always knew I was going to come back here. I'm speaking for myself personally. I think my heart was always here. I wanted to do something different, but I think I would say in some ways, yes, for me personally. I don't know about
Do you mean, Kevin, do you mean after he'd passed, or do you mean in life?
Yeah, I mean, you look around the league, not every, from one level to the next level, family-wise, has been passed down. Was there ever, I guess, any doubt that?
I think I could answer a little bit,
Yeah.
just because growing up, my dad ingrained in us just how important the team was, and just how to cherish and basically do everything you can to try to keep it. And he did a great job trying to work
Setting us
hard,
up, yeah.
setting us up so that when he did pass, one day sooner than we thought, but that we would be able to do that. And we're so thankful for him because, as you know, a lot of families or things get ripped apart. And I think he also ingrained in us, just as we've all been talking about since we were little, that this is what was so important to our family. And keeping the team, I think, was so important to the three of us together.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, as you know, I used to work with you.
James Boyd, the athletic. Have you all thought about just how your structure will look going forward? Meaning, like, would you bring in a team president, or would you want to keep it just in the family, or just things like that when it comes to leadership decisions?
Yeah, I think with Pete here, I think he's kind of been the
Uniting.
de facto proxy, whatever you want to call it, president. And he's told us he has no plans to retire yet. So we should talk to his wife about it. But I mean, but I think as Kaylin said too, we've all been involved kind of all along the way, and some of you may not know the level of what we've actually been doing, in deference to our fathers, certainly. But I think that it remains to be seen right now. I think the first step was kind of talking to you guys, making sure the succession plan that we announced was in line with what my dad's wishes were, and we're all aligned with it, and we're going to be very collaborative. So I think that we're very fortunate.
Hey guys, Greg Doyle with the Star. You've been around the team obviously your whole life, so they've seen you. This role is different, obviously, and it just so happens training camp, mini camp's going on. So have you addressed the team? Is there any kind of feeding like that?
Well, obviously all of them were at the service, and then we had a reception that some of them are at as well. So as a collective group, like Carly and I were at the team meeting this morning, but no, we didn't stand up and talk to them yet, but we've talked to many of them individually. And I think in that same vein, I guess it goes back, I keep going back to what you asked Mike about what we learned from him, and that's definitely something, is how special the relationship and important the relationship is with the players, and that making sure that they understand that we are the same in the sense that whatever you need to win, we're going to make that happen.
Well, I'm just curious with the fact, I mean, this isn't new. You guys have been involved, maybe more so the last couple years, I don't know. But are you confident in the direction the team's taken, is in with Chris and with Coach? What's your comfort with where this team is and where it's going?
Mike, we are very confident. Having said that, I think, as my dad said before he passed, Chris and Shane know that they have things they need to fix. And, we talked about not micromanaging people, but also we have a standard here and it hasn't been good enough. And, winning is great, but I would even take it a step further in saying, we're really committed to being the best. And if we're the best, we will win games. And I think Chris and Shane are totally capable of doing that, and we're confident that they can.
So it's not a playoffs or else, it's just reinforce everything that's in place. I mean, it's hard to put
Well,
an objective.
do you have a crystal ball with
No,
you?
I wish
Because yes, of course, things happen, and some of it is we all have to look at all these factors. I mean, if we had all these, injuries, decimate our team, we don't, knock on wood on that, but I'm just saying there's so many different directions. That's part of why it's so fun and scary to work in sports sometimes.
So I know you guys love each other, but I have siblings, and we didn't always agree on everything. So if there comes a time where you don't see eye to eye on issue X, how do you reach a consensus? I'm sure you figured it out, but is there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think it's like any relationship,
Yeah.
or any
Figure it out.
partnership. We're sisters, but we're also business partners now. And, they always say, your relationships with your siblings are probably the most important in life. They're the people you're with the most, or the people that will most likely stay with you the longest. And we know our faults and our strengths and weaknesses probably better than most. And of course, we're going to disagree. Like, but we've also learned, again, from our dad and just from life, we're old enough to have learned how to handle those disagreements.
And I think it's happened pretty nicely, naturally, that we've all developed our own niches and areas that we're working and contributing in the building, and it's great. It's great to be able to focus on the things that you're really passionate about, and have your business partners that are doing the other things they're passionate about.
Carly, do you view Chris and Shane tied together, even though they were hired in different years?
I can't answer that question right now. I don't know. I mean, I think that relationship is really important. And I think that's why, in a lot of ways, as I've been more involved over on the football side in the last 8 to 10 years, I think it's like in a marital argument, right? It's like it takes two to tango, and I think they have a great relationship. I can tell you we've had situations where we've had that scenario. That wasn't the case. And they work really well together. They communicate really well together. They don't always agree, but as Keelan was saying, even among the three of us, they talk about it, and they each have their areas that they focus on, and I think they respect and trust each other, and we feel really fortunate to have that kind of dynamic.
Dominic Miranda, WTHR. Just, Carla, we've seen you with the headset on the sidelines, and I'm just curious your biggest takeaway from doing that, your intimate involvement with practices and games, and kind of what you gleaned from that experience.
I was waiting for someone to ask that question. No, I'm just joking. So it was, I think, honestly, like everyone knew my dad was a little bit, as Keelan said, good weird, or we're all kind of weirdos.
Well, it's from the
from the service for those that were there. But I think one of the things that I learned in going through, even as back as when we hired Chuck Pagano, is that sort of accelerated I need to learn more about this. I need to be able to say, is this person full of BS? Do they even know what they're talking about? And I think one of the things that being on the headset has really helped me learn is, to the question earlier, it's such a complex organism, a football team and how it operates, and on game day, and you could say, oh, that person ran that route wrong, when you learn to find, oh, someone tagged the wrong wide receiver, and it wasn't really the player's fault. It was the person that called it. So, and it's never, I think that's been a very valuable, because it also helps us be able to know, where do we need to make tweaks? What resources do we need? What do we need to fix? So much of it comes down to just how we operate and how things work. And the headsets are really, I wish I would suggest it for anyone else that has to pay coaches and GMs millions and millions of dollars. It helps you make a less expensive mistake, potentially.
Nate Atkins of Daily Star. Carly, obviously it's a big third year for Anthony Richardson, and just kind of curious where you're at with him and his progress, and do you see this as sort of a make or break year for him to either get on the field or prove what he can be, or are you not there yet?
Well, we drafted Anthony for a reason, and we believe in him. He's incredibly talented, and sometimes when you draft players, they have rough starts, they have injuries, they've got those things that they need to go through. But I think it's way too early to tell. And I know Chris and Shane, they'll let us know as we go along. But I think he has all the potential in the world, and if he wants to prove it, he can, and he will if he wants to.
JJ Stankovitz, Colts.com. Over your time just spent around this franchise, spent around this city, what did you learn about the impact the Colts can have on Indianapolis, and I guess how does that maybe fuel your vision as owners going forward?
Do you want to talk to that?
Gosh, I mean, how long do you have?
No.
But I think you could look at it back to the 80s when we came here. Our dad was able to be a part of bringing football to this state, and what it has done is incredible. And what a cool thing to see. I think that we hope to continue that legacy in that sense, continue to be the people that are able to grow this amazing city that we, I always joke I'm the only true born Hoosier out of our family. But we're all Hoosiers, and we love being here. We love the people. We love the city. And I really don't think there's anywhere else like it. And I think for me, I'll speak for myself, the pride that we feel and probably came from my dad's pride of seeing the impact that you can make off the field because of the success that you have on the field is indescribable, and is something that, his favorite saying, it fits all of these things about him, which is clean house, trust God, and serve others. And I really think that in every element, that's why I love this job, is that anything we're doing, it feels like we're serving others. Even the entertainment on the field, I know that it affects fans Monday morning. I know that, their week could be ruined because we lost. And as much as that, is, again, that feeling of big responsibility, it also, what a beautiful thing that you get to be a part of. And so I think we hope to just continue what he did so well, and showed us how working with so many different partners within the city too. I think it's one of the best things about Indianapolis is that we have some pretty incredible businesses and other sports teams who really know how to work together to get things done. And I can't wait to continue to be a part of that.
All right, we're gonna take a few more. Chris, go ahead.
Chris Hagan, Class Design, way in the back here.
Hey, Chris.
We in this room have all seen how involved you've been with the organization and how prepared you are. But for the average fan, what do they know? They're gonna sell the team, they're gonna move the team. How could you assure them about how prepared and ready for this moment you are from day one?
Well, I think, Chris, I know Keelan touched on, we've been very fortunate to really, even at 44, to be involved for decades now. And I think even as we've had new owners come in, I think we come from a family that we didn't, start a hedge fund or some other business and do this, especially the generation we're in. This is our business, and we take it very seriously. And we know, as we discussed, we know we have some things to fix, but I think we're just doubling down, and we're going to work tirelessly to make sure, continue the legacy. And we're just, to pull a quote my dad would say, who I think our PR person would say, you say excited too much, but we couldn't be more excited about the team this year and our draft class. I mean, you talked about the QB position, but it's competition is good. I mean, competing, nothing's better. Nothing makes a team raise the waterline more than having other people, that are really good to keep them accountable. And I think I can't wait for training camp. I'm really excited about it.
James Boyd, The Athletic, you talked about can't wait for training camp and wanting to win, things like that. So how do you all balance being patient and using discernment in decision making, but also having a sense of urgency to try to, it's one now league, and it's always about what you've done lately?
So that's a really good question, and I think part of it is you have to be open-minded, you have to be a good listener, and I think the more we're grateful that as young as we are, we've been able to have as much experience as we've already had, and there's just not a one-size-fits-all answer. I mean, some players, like I said, some guys will get injured, or you'll get a coach that wants to run it, they tell you they want to run this scheme, and then we draft someone and that person doesn't fit, and then we have to pivot. And again, that's what makes sports so fun to work in, is it has to be this iterative process, but you also have to have this core and stay disciplined and stay true to what the standards are in our organization.
Okay, last one here.
Mickey Schuer with the Indianapolis Business Journal. I want to talk about the business side of things for a moment. You guys obviously have a lot of irons in the fire, whether it is the Girls Flag Football Initiative, the Taking the Stigma Initiative, the Ursay Collection. What should people expect to see in those areas and other aspects of the business? Are we going to see more involvement, less involvement?
Well, you didn't mention what, we are in Germany and in the whole DACH region now too. So that one is, we're really, we are, it's definitely an emerging market for even the NFL as a whole, which sounds strange to say, like domestically, we're such a behemoth, but I think that for the three of us, we're still just getting, we're prepared for this part, I think, with the football team, but all those other things, obviously, my dad did he was very proactive, and we have a great plan, and we're looking forward to that stability, but I think we still have to figure that part out.
All right, and we're gonna take a quick photo here, so give us 2 seconds, we'll get the table out of the way.
Someone's.